Nobody's 100% introverted. Nobody. I don't care what anybody says. You're putting this title on yourself as a mask, as a protection, because you actually want to disconnect with people. I need to rant a little bit about introverted people because I've been very annoyed by them recently. And so the first thing I want to mention is that I consider myself to be at least 50 to 60% introverted as well. But with that came things that I had to learn. I had to learn certain things, and I'm gonna just bring up these few points, and then hopefully if you feel like you're introverted and you don't really have the friends you want, you don't really have the relationships you want, maybe there are some criticisms that I'm gonna point out, and maybe it's gonna be a bit, truth hurts, but then you can actually evolve as a person. So the first thing is, I want to bring up something. If, a lot of us feel bad about ourselves and stuff, but let's talk about what is actually considered a mental disorder, because this is very important. It's considered a mental health problem, whatever you're dealing with, when it's affecting your whole life, your daily life. More specifically, if it interferes with your daily life, it blocks some stuff, it hinders you from doing what you want to do. So with those conditions, I would claim that introversion is actually a bigger problem than we think. And if we identify with it, meaning we say, oh, it's something I can't change, it's just in my nature, that can be a massive issue if it impacts your entire life. In your daily life, interpersonal relationships, work, it affects everything. So there's no benefit to you being introverted. And I would also argue that for some of us, it stems from childhood trauma. And it's actually not that we're really introverted, it's just that we take a step back, we hide because we have been hurt. And because the people who took care of us didn't accept us for who we are, they didn't love us for who we are, they criticized us all the time. So that makes us introverted. So the main issue I see, and what's really annoying for other people dealing with introverted people, they're so self-absorbed. They're so self-absorbed. They think everybody's looking at them, everybody's thinking about them, everybody's analyzing them, everybody cares about them. And that sounds harsh, but just in a sense of like, oh, I don't look as good today as I did yesterday. Or, oh, I said something in an awkward way. Oh, I have my voice cracked or something. Oh, I stumbled. Now my whole day is ruined because everybody's looking at me. Everybody thinks I'm lame. Nobody cares, nobody cares. And I've had family members who, because they're so introverted, they're like, they can't get out of their own heads. They're so self-absorbed. It's like, oh, I don't know. I felt like I'm not good enough to talk to you or something. And not saying that that's exactly what people say, but, the energy, people can read your energy. And people are irritated if you put yourself down all the time. And you the thing is, you can't receive anything if you just hide all the time, right? If you feel like you're not good enough for even social interaction, nobody's gonna give that to you. Because it's exhausting. It's exhausting to give other people the responsibility to give you confidence all the time and to reassure you all the time, especially people you don't really know that well. So by being so self-absorbed with things that nobody really cares about, introverted people miss the point. they miss that because of because of what's going on in their heads, because of all of this chaos and turmoil and uncomfortableness of an introverted person, they miss the obvious signs they're giving to other people that they're actually not approachable. You know, I have this a bit genetically like this RBF, right? But that meant that I had to just be a little bit more softer, just soften my gaze a little bit, like relax my muscles a little bit. Don't be like frowning all the damn time, you know, just be a little bit more relaxed. Just be a bit more open. Have a slight, you know, the way my mouth is, just look at my mouth. It's a little bit slightly downturned, right? So that obviously gives people the impression that something's wrong or whatever. So if I'm just like a bit like, you know, that difference, it's not like I have to be fake smiling all the time, but it is a big difference. And then also showing your hands, that's the main thing. You know, if I show my hands in a video, that's where people feel more comfortable because, you know, they know what they're dealing with. And and it gives them, the thing is, if you hide your hands, people in an instinctive level, they think there's something up, like you're scheming something, you're doing something. Come on. And come on. If you take that mental load off of people, they can automatically feel more safe around you. So these are just things that are more inviting, more friendly, like you show that you're not a danger to people. Because you are like, oh, I'm introverted, but you walk around with an RBF, you frown the whole time, and you're like shoving your hands somewhere. And if you look a certain way, like, I don't want to have to say this, but like if you're, for example, a black man doing that, people are not going to perceive it well, you know, because of whatever else is going on in the world. And it's sad, you know, maybe we could be idealistic and say, oh, people shouldn't be like this and stuff, but you have to understand that people have so much going on in their lives, they can't be bothered. They can't be bothered, so if you're making it hard for people, what do you expect? You know, for the longest time, I kind of was just resentful of those things, like, well, why do people judge me that way, da-da-da. And yeah, sometimes it's unfair, but you have to deal with what you have to evolve. You can't just dwell on it and be bitter and cynical and just blame other people, even though you do have power to change something. Just your perception alone, you know, your body language, the way you talk to people, just being a bit more polite. Like here in London, people say dear, love, you know, they say these things to, yes, it might be fake, but it just gives the impression that you're open to be a friend or friendly, you know, instead of being so damn blunt, because I'm European and we tend to be a bit more blunt, not so polite. Like, yeah, we say please and thank you, but that's basically it, you know. Yeah, it's just things to keep in mind. Like, people don't care. They're so absorbed with their own problems, with being self-conscious about themselves. They don't care about you like that. They just care if you're approachable or not, you know. And if you're not approachable, then what do you expect? It's just sad because people even do it with their family. Like, it's so weird, you know. I'm the oldest sister and my younger sister does this sometime. And I'm just like, they don't understand that I saw them as a child. I saw them as an infant, as a baby, as a toddler. You know, I saw them growing up. What do they think I will think about them? It's just so strange. It's so strange. And I remember being that way. That makes it even more strange to me, because I guess it's a maturity thing, but I just see a lot of people at my age or over 30 who are like, still like that. And it has happened that there has been a family birthday, like somebody has a birthday, right? And certain people are so much in pain and need healing that they can't get over themselves. And it's not because they don't like the family member. That's not what I'm talking about, actually. I'm not talking about that. I'm not saying, oh, I have beef with a sibling and they didn't come to my birthday party. That's not what I'm saying. I'm actually talking about there's nothing wrong in that way. And they argue that they can't go out. They just can't go outside because their social anxiety is too high. Like, this is so selfish. It's so selfish, and I don't care if it comes from a place of hurt, because that's the same thing abusers also do, is to argue that because they are hurt, because they have trauma, that's why they treat other people badly. So it's no excuse to neglect other people and then to complain later on that nobody's talking to you, that you have no friends. Because this hurts people. This hurts people. And it's not fair. Treat other people like you want to be treated. And if everybody's ignoring you and you are introverted, just watch out. Watch out what you're doing and why. Because it really hurts people. You may think nobody cares in that way. You think, oh, I don't matter. But people actually care. They're actually hurt because you are a significant person for someone. You think maybe that's not true, but it is true. And when you get older, you're going to realize this. But then it's going to be too late because you burn all of the bridges. And then they complain. And then they say, oh, I can't. That's the problem. They think they identify with it, so they think they can't change it. Don't identify with it anymore. Nobody's 100% introverted. Nobody. I don't care what anybody says. You're putting this title on yourself as a mask, as a protection, because you actually want to disconnect with people.
And not even getting into.
So what do you think life will get you if you want to disconnect with people? You think you can make it alone? Because that's not how humans evolved. So, before attacking me and being butthurt about this whole topic and my video, just think about it in a logical way, in a practical way, in a non-emotional way. Just think about it. Think about if these points may be true. There's just the level of humaneness that's removed if people are so self-absorbed. And as I said, it's a mental illness. It's a mental illness if it affects your daily life to a degree where you can't even, say hello from time to time to people. If you don't see them on a regular basis, if you're scared to call, you're scared to text, you're scared to send a voice message, people are gonna feel like you don't like them. And if the reason is because you're so self-conscious, because you have social anxiety, that's so sad on so many levels. Like, you're literally ruining relationships, you're burning bridges because you don't feel good enough. Please get over that. Like, if you feel like that, you have to get over it. You do. Because my sister also, she complained about not having friends. And kind of like, oh, I don't have friends, but you do. Like, nobody handed me these people. I had to do something for that. And you have to keep it up as well. You can't just think that everybody else has it better than you automatically. Everybody else is privileged, but you. That's not how the world works. I know the world seems unfair. And it is unfair in a certain sense. But there's so much power you have. There's so much control you can actually have if you take it, if you want to take that responsibility. But if you're immature, if you're like, oh, no, it's just the way it is, that's just the way it is. I had to move countries to improve a lot of these things I'm talking about. And yeah, that's a big step. And I know not everybody does it. But it completely changed my life. Like, instead of feeling depressed all the time, I feel like I belong. And just imagine what that did to my confidence and it translates, you know, like my career is completely different than it used to be. It's just, you have control. That's the point. You have control, you know, so there's no reason to be butthurt. I don't make videos to be inflammatory for no reason. But people want to ignore what's beyond the problem. Because beyond the problem is a solution, always. So yeah, take care. I appreciate you. See you soon.